So it's been a minute since I've actually sat on this couch, spoken to this microphone, to this camera, and gotten to talk to you. Um, this has been a crazy spring. I feel like I was gearing up for it. And honestly, I think it went really well, all things considered. Now we're mid-May, we're edging into the summertime. It's just going to get more insane, I'm not going to lie. I need to bring you along for my vlogs. I promise it's been a goal of mine for my YouTube friends. It has been a goal of mine to release one vlog a month that actually takes you on a trip with me. I just haven't had the time to do it, but I need to bring you guys along from Europe last year, from LA last year, and then from all my New York and upstate New York adventures this spring, I should say. This summer, little preview, guys, it's going to get even crazier. We're going to Europe and North Africa, and it's a lot of stuff. I don't say that to sound braggadocious. It's just a really cool blessing that we're in this stage of life where most of our work is now taking us places, which is so awesome to be able to be in that position. And I love being booked and busy. I love it. Try not to overbook. But some of these trips just really help me reset. You guys know how much I love to travel. I have a whole podcast episode, if you haven't listened to it, about why traveling is so good for you theologically, why I believe in it, what it does to our brains, and how it can help reshape your neural pathways and get you off the couch and just re-zhuzhed with creativity and a new outlook on the world and culture and people. I digress. This spring was full of travel. And I figured it just has been a minute since I've chatted with you and got to really discuss all the trips this spring. So I figured we'd do that today. It's a little rainy. I got my River Road latte this morning. She's not the best, I'll be honest. And I do love River Road, but I think they kind of messed up my order. I said iced oat milk latte with an extra shot of espresso and vanilla as the flavor. They didn't put the extra shot in, and I'm pretty sure it's not oat milk. It's fine. We're not here to complain. We're here to talk about gratitude. We're here to talk about all the fun things I got to do this spring, and give you an update. Maybe I'll call this segment, Where in the World is India? I just think, yeah, it's just a practical one. Here we go. Without further ado, welcome back. Let's do it. Okay, so in March, we'll kind of roll it back. In March, we decided to go to upstate New York to hang out with some of our friends, very sweet friends. If you watched my episode about sustainability with Miss Sue Pennica, those are the friends. We went up there because they're so kind, and they were like, hey, if you ever want to come over and have a week at our house or just hang out, you can bring your stuff. You can kind of work from our home situation. So we're like, of course, why not? That's one of the perks of working for yourself, is deciding where you work. And, all it really costs is the road trip in our case. So we planned it out, and Ian drove, and then I ended up flying because I had something else on my schedule. And we spent one quick day in New York City, stayed with a friend, did jazz bar, which was really fun, and then took off the next morning. So one quick night in the city, and then drove up to Albany, stayed with our friends up there for a week. Did some work, did some play. It was just a lot of fun. It's really chill. It's just if you just stayed with your, your family member for the week. It just felt so nice. So we did that, and then we drove back. And the drive from Ohio to New York City, it's not bad, but I say that as the one who usually doesn't drive. It's really not bad though. It's about 8 hours, 45 minutes from Columbus, Ohio to Brooklyn, or I guess Newark, New Jersey. We usually park. Here's a little tip. If you're not flying in and you are driving, unless you're staying in one of the burb neighborhoods and you're kind of out of the chunkiness of the city, and you're staying on a street where there's free street parking, we've been buying a ticket for an overnight parking garage and just leaving the car there. It's just been easier. That way, by the end of the week, it's I think it was $36 for parking for 48 hours the last time we did it. And you just make sure the parking garage allows overnight cars. But That's just been the easiest way because then you could just train right into the city and you're good to go. But, usually I end up flying into New York. And another hack, if you are flying into LaGuardia, you can take the free Q70 bus and it takes you from the airport to, I think I'm blanking on the stop, but it's like Roosevelt and 74th, I think, in Jackson Heights, I'm pretty sure. But it takes you right to the subway for free. And then from there, you can take the subway for like $2.90 or whatever is anywhere else. So don't Uber from LaGuardia. Don't Uber or pay a taxi. It'll be like $50. Don't do that. It's it's like a 12-minute maximum bus ride. It's a free bus. Takes you right to the start of the subway. Boom, you're good to go. Anyway, so yes, that was our trip in March. And then we came back. And then I had about 2 weeks here in Ohio before my next trip, which was back to upstate New York. I know, crazy. I actually so I'm a photography educator, and I host workshops. I'm going to do a whole nother podcast on my recent workshop because it was so much fun. I learned a lot. It's my second time hosting an overnight workshop. It's really something I'm really enjoying doing. A lot of fun times. But I also have never attended my own, like someone else's overnight workshop. I've attended loads of styled shoots, loads of conferences from photographers, business owners, entrepreneurs, lots of 2-day work days, but never like my own overnight styled shoot. And especially in this industry, when you want a certain level of content for your portfolio, or specifically if you want to market towards a certain demographic, like, I want to market towards high-end luxury couples in Miami, Florida, you need to go and get a styled shoot ticket and pay your way to Miami, Florida and shoot that so that you have that in your portfolio. That way you network with local vendors. You can use those SEO keywords and really show local people in that new location what you have to offer. So it was a last minute decision. I had been eyeing this one workshop for a while. It's a multi-day event, very similar to the one that I host personally. And I was like, I know for me, I don't need this education, but the styled shoot portion, I would really like to have that in my portfolio because it's in a location I want to book more of. It was in upstate New York. I really trust the educators who were putting it on. And I felt like I've learned a lot from them. I've been to their other events, conferences. I've done a lot of their digital stuff. So I was like, this could be a really cool thing. And I figured if it didn't happen, it wasn't the end of the world. So they launched the tickets last November and I was praying about it, thinking about it. I literally had the page open to buy a ticket for a long time. And I was like, okay, let me walk away from this. And if I feel like by the end of the day, if that ticket is still available, I'll get it. I walk away, I come back, boom, tickets are sold out. So I'm thinking, all right, this is not for me, no need. Flash forward to this spring, right before we went to upstate New York to visit our friends, I saw that this, place that throws these workshops, they were hosting and they were like, hey, we're like 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out. Someone has a personal emergency, can no longer make the trip. Would anyone like to buy her ticket? And I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, I had thought about this, but I'm not sure, didn't know. Is this a sign? So I just reached out to the girl and I was like, hey, how much are you asking? What's the vibe? And I heard her story and her husband had lost his job and all this stuff. And they really needed the money basically to kind of get back on their feet. And she couldn't afford to take the time off anymore. So I was like, it's not a necessity. And it was a very expensive thing, even with her, reselling the ticket. But I was like, okay, I would like the content from this. And I like these women and I feel like I trust them and I've learned a lot from them. So I did it. I bit the bullet. I paid for the ticket. I have thoughts. I have thoughts overall on the experience. But what I will say is that I try not to live with regrets. I definitely am glad I went for the networking. The other women I met were amazing. I did get some really good portfolio. I'll leave it there. But overall, it was a good experience, I think, in the fact that I met some amazing women that I don't know at all. I only knew through the fact that we were all going to this event. A group of really sweet girls kind of pushed me in their fold, was like, hey, we're 2 weeks out and you obviously are the last person to slide in because you're replacing this other girl's ticket. Come on into our plan. We're staying at this person's apartment. we're all going to go out to dinner at this restaurant. We already have a reservation for 5. I've already organized like extra styled shoots in New York City, where in Central Park and in Soho. And so it was really, really sweet. And so shout out to Lindsay, Sydney, Dyra, and Katie. I love you all. Thank you. Like that is what I was very much appreciative of the whole experience, was that, and this is kind of what I've experienced in the photography community, especially women from around the country, when you all come together and say like, I don't have to know you from a hole in the ground, but I know the kind of person you are. If you are willing to hop on a plane, book a ticket at a last minute's notice, travel, you love people, you love photography, you love documenting moments, then you aren't strangers anymore. At least in my book, it's like, you're not a stranger anymore. Like, boop, we're friends now. And that's the exact vibe that I got from these women. It was very, very special and a fun treat. So anyway, the whole trip, I'm, no regrets. I'm glad I did it, but let's just say I'm glad I hosted my own too. I'm just glad I hosted my own event. So I went to that. It was a Monday. I think I flew in on a Sunday and then came back on Friday, came back on Good Friday. We had Easter weekend, and then we saw my husband's family and my family. And all of that went really well. And then that Monday I packed up and I had already planned a trip to Las Vegas, Nevada that week. So that was what was crazy, is that I knew it was going to be like March, upstate New York, April, Las Vegas, Nevada, and then May, another trip. But that extra double trip back to back in April, was not something that I had originally anticipated. So it was kind of crazy. And in retrospect, maybe I won't be booking back-to-back trips like that, like, home for the weekend and then leave. But it all worked out. Like, I'm actually pretty proud of myself for I haven't fully even unpacked from March, but like I am proud of myself for coming home, doing what I need to do, staying on top of my work with my clients. I think I edited an entire wedding gallery in between, like over Easter weekend, sent that off, and then hopped on the next plane to Vegas. So I'm proud of myself for being able to like pump in content, pump it out. And I have a system around me now. Like I've really developed a strong workflow to help in those scenarios. So I'm not just like completely swimming upstream, but it was good. And so then I went to Vegas, and Vegas was a personal trip. I actually did some work while I was there, of course, too, but it was intended as just friend time. I wasn't shooting a wedding or anything. I did end up shooting for my friend's show. She's an artist, Miss Katie. You got to listen to her crazy episode of us in her groovy apartment with our conspiracy theories. But she was wrapping up her second master's degree, and we're good friends, obviously. So she invited me out to party with her, and it was a blast. It was so much fun. It's just a very practical week. We used to live together, obviously, as roommates. One sec, I had to take a sip of my coffee. And so I feel like, I'm the oldest daughter in my family, and I have a younger sister, but no sisters above me. I feel like Katie has always been like my sister in that way. I like change my voice when I talk about certain people, and that's my Katie voice. She's my sister. Yeah, and she's just a goob. She's so funny, and we're obviously like very opposite people. We have very different we have similar personalities, very different like ways of looking at the world, and like reasons and I guess theologies about life and our approach on things. But I love it. Like, you ever meet those people where you're just like, it doesn't matter that we think differently. We always dialogue civilly about things. We listen to each other. And even though we have different viewpoints on a lot of topics, like there's still nothing that would change my friendship with this person. Like, that's the kind of person I'm talking about. So it's a very fun friendship. We've been good friends for a long time. And so when she invited me out, I was like, no brainer. Like, I got to do this. And to be honest, I rarely say no. When someone invites me to go to visit them, even if it's across the country or the world, like I take every invitation seriously. So I love seeing people, and I love when people, invite me into their space. And the week, basically, we were preparing for her thesis closing show. She filled an entire gallery of work. It was awesome. I think that last episode, that was the first night I got there. So I hadn't seen her work yet. And so now I can like give you the whole recap. I think I flew in on a Tuesday. We had some espresso martinis at a really nice little bar. I think it was in the cocktail lounge of the Virgin Motel. Hotel in Vegas. Very pretty. It had a gorgeous like space. It was so fun. And since it was a Tuesday, it wasn't that busy at all. Really good espresso martini. I think it was better than the one I had in Paris. TBH. Take that, Paris. But it was very delicious. And then we went back to her apartment, caught up. I got to give her a present. You may have seen this on my Instagram story, but I have been keeping this from you guys. I think I have been sewing, and I've been working very specifically since I learned the basics of my sewing machine in January on this gift for her. I'll show you. I'll put it in here. This is my pride and joy. It's not the best thing I've ever made, and if you actually look too close at the stitches, you'll probably cry or laugh because it's not that impressive. But I made a SpongeBob jacket, a fleece jacket out of a thrifted $1 SpongeBob blanket. Yes, like my dream come true. I was at, I don't remember where. I think it was like a Village Discount or Village something in Westerville. It was like a thrift store. And I'm just walking around. I went to the fabric aisle because I was like, I have a sewing machine now. Maybe I'll learn how to do those cool jackets. I've been seeing people do this on TikTok, and they take a blanket and turn it into a jacket. And I just stumbled across this SpongeBob fleece. I'm not a huge SpongeBob fan. I didn't grow up watching it. Ian did. But I never really cared for it. I was like, whatever. But my girl Katie loves SpongeBob. And she's like in her 30s. And I love that about her. And I was like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what I want to do with this. And I know exactly who it's for. So I bought it. It was like literally $1.40 for a fleece blanket. I had someone, shout out to Nat. She does neighborhood patterns on Instagram. Look her up. She teaches people how to sew in Columbus, Ohio. And I think she has some digital products and online resources too. But she was awesome. She walked me through my machine. She helped me understand the basics of things, gave me a couple patterns to look at. So I bought an online pattern, and I think I could link it. It was like $16, which I think was well worth it. I was like, I can wing this. I'm really glad I didn't try to wing it. I had wung, I made something for my niece. It wasn't that great. And I just kind of wung that. And I did like a YouTube tutorial to do these headbands, but that's all I had done. I had not done any real clothes or real adult clothes just yet. So I'm glad I got the pattern, printed out all the pieces, taped them all together. And then I took the fabric and like figured it out. I like cut along the edges of the pattern and sewed it all together. And it turned out pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. It turned out pretty cool. We ran out of SpongeBob fabric for the sleeves. So what I did was like the pockets and the front panels and the back were all the SpongeBob jacket, like the blanket. And then I went to Joann's and got blue fleece for the sleeves. And then I added like a navy blue, I forget what it's called, but like just like a trim to kind of like finish up the edges. It looked really good. Okay, so yes, I flew in on a Tuesday and I gave it to her immediately. And let me just add in her reaction video real fast because it's really cute. Yeah. You can unwrap.
Oh my God. I can see him already.
It's okay if you hate it. I won't be offended if you
I'm not
never,
gonna hate
ever want to wear it ever.
Never. Oh, I can wear it. Wait.
Okay. It's a giant SpongeBob jacket that I sewed for you.
India! Jade! This is sick as fuck. What? What?
It's just kind of like a cardigan situation.
What? India.
And he's all over the back. So his big face is, yeah, he's on the back. Is it cool?
Thank you.
It's my first real project.
This is sick as hell.
Yay.
Oh
Okay, I'm like not gonna lie, that made me so happy. Like, you know, when you do something for a friend and you want them to have that reaction, but you're like, are they gonna think this is super lame? Like, you know, the last time you made a SpongeBob jacket for your friend and you're like, they're either going to love this or be like, oh my gosh, I'm like an older person. Why are you? Not that Katie's old, but like, you know, you don't give your friend in your 30s like a cartoon jacket. But when it's Katie B. Funk, you do. So that was a treat. That was a lot of fun to surprise her with. So that was our first day on Tuesday. Wednesday, I'm pretty sure I went to go see her work. I photographed it so she would have some nice images of it. We ran some errands, and then we had like a super long, nice lunch. I forget the name of the restaurant we went to, but we just ate there for a long time, had appetizers and salads, like a slow, long meal because it wasn't very busy. And it was just like a decent American style diner. And then her friend Mary came. We hung out. I don't think we went out that night. I think we just did girl dinner at home. And then on Thursday, I hung out by the pool for a bit at her apartment, which is just so nice. I love when my friends like live in warm places and you get to just sit by their pool. It's like, what a concept. Ohio, take notes. And then we went out to this really giant brew dog in downtown Las Vegas, like along the strip, and that had this cool view. And this other bar called like Velvet Rabbit or something like that. I had a really good spicy cocktail. I'm not a huge fan when I like go to these expensive tourist cities on like paying a lot of money for a lot of cocktails. What I prefer to do, both because I'm on a budget and also because it's not enjoyable. Like don't go out to drink to get drunk, right? You just want to like taste a little flavor and then move on, like have a new experience and then move on. So what we like to do is like make a little charcuterie board at home, make a little cocktail at home. Then we kind of go out and like experience it over a long period of time. And so that was nice to kind of just go out and enjoy, not like rushing, not trying to like eat a million things and like rack up a huge bill, but just kind of like to pace yourself well and go out kind of on a full stomach. So you're just like doing appetizers and like maybe one little cocktail or something, maybe two. Yeah, so that was Thursday. And then Friday was her show day. So we went on a quick walk, got some other errands underway. I sat by the pool again. I actually did a little work on this trip too, and I got quite a bit done. I did a kind of brainstorm by the pool day, which if you just need a little awaken your neural pathways, just change your work environment. I just sat by a pool with a notebook with no music playing, no other stimulation, no one was around. And I'm just laying there kind of just with my sunscreen on tanning, getting some nice vitamin D. And I just had so many ideas. And I would sit up, write it down, and then go back. And then sit up, write it down. Like when there's nothing going on and you're not listening to anything, you're not listening to music, there's no show in the background. It's sometimes all you need is just to like reset and remove all the excess stuff. Go for a drive without the radio on, I'm surprised. I think it's because I've had a lot of interaction and a lot of traveling, a lot of, stimulation recently. But I'm so surprised, like the past couple of days I've been driving long distances, like 45 minutes to an hour and a half, and I won't even turn on Spotify. I'm just like, I need to sit in silence. As 21 Pilots once said, and now I just sit in silence. So anyway, then Katie had her show. It was Final Girl themed dress code. So I dressed up as Sabrina Carpenter from the End of the Taste music video. I cut my bangs and we went to it. It was really beautiful. It was just a lot of fun. Afterwards, we went to a karaoke bar with some of her friends. And I think that was my second time ever at a karaoke bar. But I liked this one better because I had went to one before, which is like exactly what you think. It was for my friend's bachelorette party. And everyone's there and you sign up to get a song and then you're singing in front of the whole bar. It's kind of nerve-wracking because then everyone in the bar can judge you. And if you're more introverted, it's hard to like work up the courage to do something like that in front of like 50 to 70 people in a bar. This experience I actually really liked. I think it was called Karaoke Go in Las Vegas. And you, instead of singing in front of a whole bar, you have a private room and you can just pick the size of the room. So we had like maybe 15 people that were all her friends in one room. You can order food and drinks to be delivered straight to the room. And then you're only performing for the room. A concept. I liked that so much better because even though I was nervous because I didn't know any of these people, it's like you're only with your friend group. You know what I mean? You could just bring your people to that space and it just made it more, I don't know, just like way more attainable and easy to try. So sang a couple songs, had some fun. I also like that you could just order food and drinks and stuff to that room. It was just like a nice system. So that was a lot of fun. And then I had to leave super, super early. And so did her other friend. Both of us are from Ohio. So we like split an Uber back to her place while she was still there. I'm like, I'm not trying to ruin your fun. You have a good night. Can we have your keys? And so we Ubered back to her house. I think it was like 12:45 a.m., 1 a.m. We got there. I crawled in bed, fell asleep, and I think she came in like an hour later. And then I had to get up at 5 a.m. the next morning, called an Uber to pick me up and take me to the airport. And I was like, bye, Katie. Like it was such a fun, like picturesque evening. And then it's like that weird, like dreamlike state where I'm literally landing back, in Ohio by the time she's kind of waking up, like so to speak. It was a little different than that. But yeah, that was what happened. And then I came home. Okay. And then that was a Saturday. So I got home on Saturday, rested. I had a wedding the next day here in Ohio. Now, I usually don't do that. I usually buffer at least 24 hours in between a travel day and a wedding day. However, since I was coming home versus going somewhere, I knew that like, I think my flight came in at like 3 p.m. on a Saturday and I didn't have to be at the venue till 1 p.m. the next day. I was like, since I'm coming home and it's at 3 p.m., if anything goes wrong, I can at least emergency get a flight, for the rest of that afternoon. So I don't always recommend that though, because it is cutting it a little close, but for me, it was just fine. And I let my couple know I'd be coming in and, that worst case scenario, like I had an associate ready. But all was well. Shot that wedding on that Sunday. Had a whole week here in Ohio to get ready for the getaway. My big workshop that I hosted. Again, I will do a whole separate recap on that. But the gist of it was I was hosting my own workshop. It was sold out. It was an overnight, two-day overnight thing, like 3 days, 2 nights. In Hocking Hills. It was amazing. It was so much fun. We had 5 total styled shoots. We had 14 women in the cabin with us. It was awesome. And then at the last day, the styled shoots were open so other people could buy tickets as well. And there was, I think, 28 people total there, including like some of the vendors. But it was great. It was so much fun. I'm really proud of it. It's just like a dream come true. I think I didn't hear a single negative thing, really. I got some, constructive feedback, which I always welcome. I want to make it better, but I really didn't hear too many bad things. So I don't know if you were there and you hated it, let me know so I can make it better. But it was really great. It was a lot of fun. I'm really proud of myself for keeping my own energy up and for the education that I did. Like, I really try to make these things excellent and worth your time and your money. There's a lot of people that do this kind of stuff, and some of it is just a waste. Others is good stuff, but stuff you see on the internet that's free information. And then there's a subsection of this that's just awesome. And I genuinely think that I'm able to create something that's awesome. I had a great team around me too. Like, it's not all me. I surrounded this. I hired amazing people, amazing vendors. I paid them pretty well. Like, I want people to come back and do this again. And so I treat my vendors like as best as I can, because I know what it's like to be a vendor and to be asked to do stuff for free. And it's kind of annoying sometimes. You're like, free doesn't pay the bills. Like, or the exposure could be good and maybe there's a place for some free exposure, but the trade-off has to be worth it. Like, how many people are going to be seeing this if I'm working for free? How many networking opportunities? Who else is going to be in the room? Like, is it going to make sense for my business to do this for free? And if not free, then like what cost makes sense? And then I kind of go from there with them. But it was awesome overall. So that was actually that last week. It was the first week of May. And then after that, we came home and I didn't really talk. I didn't say much the next day. I just needed that quiet. I had been, educating, hosting, talking to 20, 30 people a day during the event. You have to be on, you have to be extroverted, all that stuff. Not a bad thing. It's not even like a fake thing, but it does expel a lot of energy, right? So then as soon as that was over, I went out with my event team. I took them out to dinner, thanked them for their time. We debriefed a little, talked over what we could do better for next year, pounded some burgers and some fries. Oh my gosh, went to this place. I think it's called 1863 in Lancaster, TBD. Just slammed the fries. They were so good with their house ranch. And I came home. I think I got in the door by midnight and I just sat in bed and just like stared at Ian. I like gave him the debrief. He was there for some of it, but it was girls only. So he wasn't there for all of it. I went to bed. And then Thursday, I had to like go and run errands from the event. I had to take some stuff back to the camera store we partnered with. I had to take some stuff back to the florist we partnered with. I ran a lot of errands. Anything we didn't use from our Amazon orders, I returned that stuff. I had to take clothes back to the stylist. A couple people left stuff, so I had a lost and found going. I met some girls and dropped off their goodies. Someone left their laptop, so I had to like take that back to her. That was Thursday, and I barely listened to the radio or Spotify or anything. I just needed like an extra large coffee, extra shot of espresso, and no extra noise. So that was that. And of course, in the middle of all that, our Wi-Fi was going in and out. So I had to sit at the library for a couple hours and do some work. And then, I have no idea what happened that Friday. Probably just more cleaning and unpacking from everything. And then, I had an engagement shoot Friday. And then Saturday, I had another wedding. And then Sunday, I had a day off, but it was Mother's Day. So we hosted Ian's parents for Mother's Day brunch. Then we swung over to see my mom and dad and gave them some flowers. And then here we are. Now it's Monday. I'm recording this the day after Mother's Day. And guess what, y'all? We're leaving for New York City on Wednesday. So it doesn't stop. And this New York trip is going to be so much fun. Another hybrid of business and personal. We are just going to be in the city this time. We're not going upstate. We're staying in Brooklyn, and I'm so excited. I actually, don't tell Ian, I am surprising him for his birthday because it's kind of a week before his 33rd birthday. Crazy. He's so old. I wanted to give him a little birthday present. So we are going to see Harry Potter and the Cursed Child on Broadway. I got these amazing tickets. Like, the seats aren't anything to write home about, but the prices are pretty good. It's like an upper balcony seat for a really good price. So I'm very excited. I have the tickets and we're going to go and watch that show. We're going to stay with a friend. Another friend of mine's birthday is colliding with the trip. So I get to go to her birthday party, which never happens when you live out of state, 10 hours away from your friends. So I'm very excited for that. And then I've got two shoots lined up, two photography shoots lined up for this trip. So that'll be a lot of fun as well. And I'm like making a Google list of like restaurants to try. And the way I try to do it is I don't want to like have a restaurant in my head and be like, well, we have to do this one. And if we don't, the trip sucks. Maybe I'll pick like one place to actually do a reservation at if I want a specific thing. But other than that, I just have like 50 to 70 places pinned on my Google Maps, like places to go. You know how you can make like a list. And then that way, when we're going throughout the day and we actually get a better understanding of what we're doing, I can look through the list and see if we're near anything that makes sense for us to like go and get a bite at. So that's kind of my strategy these days because I don't want to, be staying in Queens and then take a train to like, I don't know, Chinatown. That's not that far, but like lower Brooklyn or something, or the Upper West Side. And you're on the train for like an hour and a half just to get to a restaurant. Like sometimes it's worth it, but with trips like this, especially as we're being more and more like aware of there's good, just New York in general, there's good stuff everywhere. There's good food everywhere. Some stuff is worth the extra trip and stuff, but I'm like one nice sit down restaurant with a resi, everything else we'll walk in, or we just get more casual food. A lot of the places have good happy hours and a lot of good places have spots at the bar where they serve a full menu. So you don't really always need like a reservation planned in advance. But anyway, we're trying that. So this week we're going to road trip again. We're going to drive out to New York. I waited too long to book the flights and I don't want to spend $600. Like for the both of us to fly, the total was like $600 before luggage and tax. And I'm like, I waited too long. And I thought that the tickets with the airlines would be going lower. But for some reason, they're not. I guess because everyone's more scared about flying right now with all the stuff that's been happening. that maybe that's why they're just trying to get their money. So we're driving. It's really not that bad. And we have the time, we can work in the car. We'll trade off. It'll be good. So that's this next week, you guys. By the time you see this, we'll have already done the trip. But just to, give you the scoop on what's happening, maybe I'll make it my goal to do an actual come with me for the New York trip. That way you can actually see a vlog in real time of what we're doing, how it is, and come with us and experience the trip with us. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're balling on a budget, but this one is a birthday trip. And since it's work related, it'll be one of those that breaks even. Like the lodging's free. All we're paying for is gas. The tickets are a birthday present. So the money from the, photography shoots that I have will basically cover the food. Girl math. It works. So thanks for tuning in. Busy spring, busy summer. What are you doing this spring? Have you had any cool travels? Let me know below. If you've gone to any of these places, if you're going to New York, if you have recommendations in New York City, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, whatever, send me your favorite restaurant or something below. I'd love to check it out while we're there, if we can. Everything has a long reservation list, which is crazy. But there's you could live in New York your whole life and never eat all the food there. So I'm hopeful. Thanks for listening. And pray for us. We're a little crazy. Okay, bye.